Hi, I'm Jürgen Strauss from Innovabiz. Welcome to episode number 3 of the InnovaBuzz podcast, designed to help smart businesses who are passionate about innovation and the Internet of Things become even more productive. Now, today's episode will be a little bit different. There is no guest. Instead, I'm going to tell you a story, one that involves an ostrich, photography, smart business, and innovation. Does that sound intriguing? I certainly hope so. This story is one of my life experiences during my career, and it has shaped my philosophy and drive around innovation, being a leader and continuing to learn and develop new and better ways of doing things. So, today's innovation tip is, no matter what industry you're in, innovation is not an option. It's necessary for your survival. Now, innovation can be doing things better, doing day-to-day things better. It can be finding new and better products or services that help your customer even more than you are now, and also make you stand out from your competition. It can be developing business processes that transform how you do business and how you deliver value to your customers. Before we get to the story, let me just tell you about today's competition. I'm giving away a 45-minute Skype session where we'll go through your website and identify 3 things that you can do straight away to improve its effectiveness at delivering you new business. So stay tuned later on in the interview where you can find out how to enter the competition to win that prize. So without further ado, let's go to the Innovation Hive and hear the buzz about the ostrich, photography, innovation and smart business.
This is the InnovaBuzz podcast, helping smart businesses be even more innovative.
I'm Jürgen Strauss from Innovabiz. You're probably asking yourself, what is the connection between an ostrich, photography, innovation and smart business? Well, let me begin by first telling you a few things about me that you may not know. Firstly, I was born in Germany, and Strauss, my surname, in German, among other things, means ostrich. So there's your first touch point. Secondly, photography has been a lifelong hobby of mine. In fact, I've been taking photographs since I was 3 years old. And that's a very long time, believe me. So, in fact, if you like to see examples of my photographs, I'm digressing a little bit here, go to jurgenstrauss.com and I'll have a link underneath the video and you can see some examples of my work, and I hope you enjoy that. But that's not the point of the story today. So we have the ostrich, we have photography. Now let's go on to business. The third thing that you may not know about me is that my background is chemistry. So I did a PhD in organic and in organometallic chemistry at Monash University in Australia, and after I completed that I did some postdoctoral research in Würzburg University in Germany under the Justus Liebig Fellowship of the German chemical industry. And out of that, after I finished that stint, I got a job with one of the 4 big photographic manufacturing companies of the day. Now imagine that. So that's where the story actually begins, with the ostrich and photography and innovation and smart business. Imagine a young man who is mad keen on photography as a hobby. And the first job I had was in the research division of this large photographic company manufacturing film. So I was actually working on a pretty big project to design new instant photographic materials for enlargement and reprographic and copy materials. So first of all, I thought this is the dream job. Not only was I learning some great things about photography at a much, much deeper level than I ever understood before, I also had access to state-of-the-art facilities, dark rooms that every professional photographer would have been jealous of, as well as enlargement and other photographic equipment that was just state of the art and brilliant at the time. So I was just in seventh heaven. That is, until Sony came along. Now bear with me, Sony people, because I will say some good things about you later on, but the story gets a little bit intriguing at this point. In 1981 at the Photokina, which is the biggest photographic exhibition in the world, Sony introduced the Mavica camera, the first commercial digital camera in the world. Now this camera used removable magnetic discs as the recording medium instead of film, so it was truly a revolution in the day. It wasn't actually, strictly speaking, a digital camera as we know them today, because the sensor actually produced an analog video signal which was recorded on the magnetic disc, and then you needed to display that image on a normal TV set. The first model only recorded black and white images. However, the Mavica is widely considered as the pioneer of the digital photography era. Now, after the 1981 Photokina, things got rather hectic in the company I was working for. Quite rightly, the decision makers there were concerned, in a panic in fact, that the threat of this new digital camera was going to mean the end of film photography as we knew it. So they formed a study group that was tasked with getting one of these cameras and testing it out fully, seeing how it worked, seeing what it was capable of, and learning more about the technology, which was a great step, by the way. The task force concluded three things. First thing they concluded was that the image quality produced by the Mavica was rubbish. Now, I'm sorry, Sony, but I think you'll agree with me on this one, that for the standards of film photography at the time, it was rubbish. And I'm going to say good things about you later on, I promise. Now, the second thing they concluded was that the Mavica was a proof of concept, and it did set a new direction for photography. The third thing they came up with was a recommendation that our company set up a feasibility study around digital photography, around digital image capture technology, to determine how we could get involved in that emerging technology. Now, unfortunately, our senior management didn't read the report past point 1. So they got to point 1 about the rubbish image quality, and they concluded that no action was necessary. Film photography was not in danger. The future of film was secure, particularly due to the fact that our films that we manufactured were state-of-the-art. We had all these smart people that were developing films even further than what was the technology of the day, and it certainly was going to be far superior than anything that could be produced by a rubbish sensor like in the Mavica, or anything that could be displayed on a television screen. Are you getting the ostrich bit here? I think I was one of the very few voices in the company that pointed out that when Daguerre launched his daguerreotype invention in 1839, which would forever change the nature of visual representation for all mankind, this was in fact the birth of photography. That the quality of the images at that time that Daguerre produced with his technology could also have been considered rubbish in relation to, say, a good painter or a good sketch artist. However, despite that, in the course of the next 145 years, photography had advanced to what it was then in 1981. Now, given modern technology, and I know in those days we didn't have the internet, and of course I'm showing my age, I know, but we did have telexes, we did have phones, and we did in fact have video conferencing. So the pace of development with all this communication technology was going to be much faster than in the days of Daguerre. I predicted that digital photography would be mainstream within 20 years. Now, of course, I was wrong, because by the early 1990s, so less than 10 years later, digital photography was in fact dominating the point and shoot market, and within another 5 years it had taken over the high quality amateur and professional cameras that had moved rapidly then to digital as well. Today, only absolute film enthusiasts and people that are nostalgic about film, and then a few special applications, use film. But essentially from mainstream photography, film has vanished. Of course, we all know what happened to the big film manufacturers of the 20th century. Think of Kodak, think of Agfa, think of Konica, and think of Fuji. So their film divisions collapsed and the companies took a massive hit. Kodak filed for bankruptcy in 2012 and is now only starting to emerge from that phase to reinvent itself. The photographic division of Agfa collapsed in 2005. Konica focused on business machines, photocopiers and so on, but basically gave up on photography. Fuji managed to survive the best of the big four by investing heavily in the development of digital consumer cameras. Now at the same time, or in contrast actually, Sony, along with the big camera manufacturers like Nikon, Canon and Olympus, have flourished through adapting early to the innovative disruptive technology and developing a wide range of digital camera equipment. Sony, who with the Mavicar initiated the digital photography revolution, continue to be the leaders in innovation. So I'm just alerting you, Sony, I'm saying something good about you now. So Sony's Alpha 7R camera, which is the first mirrorless full-frame 35mm digital camera on the market, is actually an awesome piece of equipment. It's an awesome camera. Now, they were innovators back in 1981 or in the early 1980s in photography, and they're still the innovators today. They're still leading the way with some, albeit that's not a complete revolution, but it certainly is quite a dramatic departure, having a full frame sensor in a mirrorless camera. So now you know the connection between the ostrich, photography, innovation and smart business. As I said, this is one of my life experiences, and it taught me that you must always innovate to survive in business. You can't be the ostrich and put your head in the sand and hope that the competitors will go away if you wait long enough. Now, of course, there are many examples in industries where disruptive technologies were introduced that have wiped out companies that were slow to respond and participate in those new innovations. Many companies have vanished as a result of the advent of the internet because they were too slow to realize what impact that technology would have on their business model. Now, I hope that by bringing you the InnovaBuzz podcast, where I feature innovation leaders in their field, that this will add to your knowledge of all things innovation and the Internet of Things, and will help you stay ahead of the game, keep your eye out for innovation and not put your head in the sand like the ostrich. So that's all for today's episode, and I hope that story inspires you to keep an eye out for what's happening in your industry by way of innovation, and try to be the leader, in fact, because as I said, Sony are the guys that are still out in front here. Now, the show notes for this episode are going, and also the resources are going to be at innovabiz.com.au/ostrich photography. That's OSTRICHPHOTOGRAPHY. So innovabiz.com.au ostrich photography. You can also subscribe to the InnovaBuzz podcast over on iTunes or Stitcher so that you will never miss a future episode. And in fact, if you like what you're hearing on these episodes, we'd love you to leave us a good review there. Now to the competition today. As I said, the prize is a 45-minute Skype session with me to work out on your website what are the 3 things that we can do straight away to improve the effectiveness of your website at developing your new business. So to be in the running to win that competition, Please leave a comment below the video and list 3 of the most innovative, disruptive technologies you've seen in the past 5 years that have the potential to change the way we all do business. So explain what those technologies are and why you think they will have the biggest impact. Leave a comment under the video, and in a few weeks I will come back and choose a winner. So not my guest, but I will come back and choose a winner and award that prize. So finally, I'll sign off with my usual reminder, and I hope that the story today underlines why this is so important. If you don't innovate, you'll stagnate. So think big, be adventurous, and innovate on.